This newsletter is focusing on taking notes in class. In this helpful link section, this is where you'll find the recording. We'll put a link there. The checklist assignment is for those who are getting credit or sketches. When you click there, it takes you to the form for you to fill out. And the sharing space is another great place to look to see what people are talking about. So any constructive criticism, like what we should change or what we should keep going, any new information that people are learning, and my favorite part, the tips and tricks that people are already using, and allowing you to share out what you're doing already for taking notes. So let's dive into the newsletter. This first section talks about an article that tells us that students with disabilities reported that they had 5 difficult parts about taking notes. It's writing fast enough, deciding what's important to write down, understanding what the teacher is saying, making sense of the notes afterwards, and studying the notes. So we've kind of broken the newsletter into those different areas, and we'll give some strategies and some ideas for helping with all of those. This is another great article from the Iris Center. And if you scroll down a little bit, it is going to give you 4 different strategies for taking notes. So maybe depending on your student, one of those might be helpful for you to help them with that. But I also really like this research article or research section. This third bullet point tells us that students who take notes during lectures and review them later perform better on tests than do those who review notes that are provided by others. So it's always been a controversy, right? Do we give students notes, and is that helpful at all? Well, this first half of the research doesn't tell us anything new. We know that if you take notes and review, that you're going to get better than if somebody just hands you the notes. However, the second part, students who review notes that are borrowed from others perform better than those students who take notes but don't review them. So that just shows you that we really need to get our students to be reviewing their notes. If that means electronically, that they can listen to them, or they can kind of look over them with another peer and kind of grapple with that information, the review is what's really going to help students perform better. So let's tackle writing fast enough first. So here are 2 ways that you can help students kind of capture notes fast enough. The first way is, in this Iris Center article, it talks about having guided notes where the teacher hands their notes to the student, but it has blanks in it. So the student just has to type less. And here's a guided notes maker. So let me show you. So the student would, or the teacher, sorry, would put their notes right in here, and then it creates a PDF for the student. And this is how you would put some blanks in there. So let me show you how it works in reality. So a lot of people have their notes in Google Slides. And if I were to try and take all of this text here and put blanks in there, I would have to kind of copy this text and see how I can't get on, and then I'd have to copy and paste this text, and it's kind of a pain. Imagine if I had lots of slides with text boxes in all of those. So here's a quick tip. If you go to File, Download, and Plain Text, then all of the text in all of the text boxes gets put into a plain text file. And so now you can easily take these notes. I'm just going to highlight copy, and now I'm going to go back to that guided notes maker, and now all my slides are kind of pasted in again as plain text. So I'm just going to kind of fluff it up a little bit. So we'll do according to this article, writing fast enough, deciding what's important to write down, understanding what's being said, making sense, and studying notes. And so then if I wanted to put the blanks in, so I could highlight this and click here, and then that's going to make a blank for that. And say I made a mistake and I went and did just half of a word, and I did put a blank, I can unblank it. I'm not sure that's a word, but then I can choose another word to blank. And here's another blank. And I'm just going to kind of go through these quickly so you can kind of see what I mean, what it looks like. So you get the idea. So I could go through and add more blanks. So down here, you can see that a checkbox is for include teacher's answers, include student answers. You don't have to do that, but I'm clicking on both so you can see what it is. And then if I click on create guided notes, now it takes me to a PDF of, you can see where the blanks are, which are kind of cool. If I scroll down to the next page, this is the teacher's notes with answers. So if you wanted to go through to see how they're doing with that, or here are the students' kind of answer key, so that they could choose from some of those words if that's what you needed to do. So again, that was guided notes, like a template or a guided notes maker, and of course using that Google Slides tip to get your all the text out of a Google slide in one go. Another helpful tool for helping students write faster is by teaching them abbreviations. So if I go to this website, I can scroll down, and the first little section is on symbols. So these are some symbols that we could use instead of typing out or writing the whole word increase. We could draw an arrow up. You kind of get the point. And then down here are other abbreviations. So specifically teaching students or showing them this website so that they can learn how to do shortcuts could also help a lot of students with writing a little bit faster. So down here, in this section, deciding what is important to write, another difficult thing for everyone to do when working on notes. But here's an engaging way to try and teach that to students. So a teacher could take, again, if you think about a slideshow that has all of the lecture notes in it, or maybe a PowerPoint, or even text from a book, then you could break that into chunks and, for example, the slideshow, and tape slides all around your room. And now students have to walk up to a slide and decide what on that slide is important for them to write down. And in the meantime, the teacher can be circulating also and helping students, and students can be talking to each other and trying to decide what would be helpful to write down, what's the most important information. And here's a template kind of to help with that. Okay, so here's the walking notes template. And the first thing is you want to make sure that the students have a hard surface that they can put the paper notes on for when they're handwriting. But also at the bottom of this document, then you could include the date that this quiz, the information will be on. You could add a little thing that if you get done early, then you could go to this website, or this is the thing that you could do when and if you get done early. And so you could, before you print it out, delete these notes or directions, or you could write your own direction just so that kind of help the students out. So now let's look at making sense of notes of afterwards. So in this section, I'm going to show you a couple of tools. Actually, I'm going to show you one tool, but the other one works similarly, but is for iPads. I'm going to show you the one for Chromebooks. So it's a tool that allows the student to record audio of what's going on in the classroom, what the teacher is saying, along with taking notes. So it's that combo of recorded audio with notes. So the student first activates the recording while they're taking notes, and then the tool actually links the recording to the typed note. So the student, when they go to review notes, then they can just go back and tap on the written word and the little time cue and listen to what was being said while they type that word. So let me show you how to do that. So it's MicNote. You download it from the Chrome store, and it is an app. And this is kind of what it looks like. This is exactly what it looks like. So you can tell it's different from an extension because it's on its own here. So I'm going to make a new note so that we kind of have a blank canvas here. And I'm going to put MicNotes demo. So that's just the title of it. So I'm going to kind of perform two tasks at once. I'm going to be talking, and that will be, I'll pretend I'm the teacher while I'm talking, and I'm going to, the lecture will be on using MicNotes, and while I'm typing, I will be pretending I'm the student typing. And so there's this kind of dance that goes on that we really want teachers to kind of cue students when it's important to write something down. And it's especially important when they are taking auditory notes that will link to their written notes. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn on the microphone, and you'll see that it is going to start recording. Okay, so we're going to talk about MicNotes today. And the first thing that's important for you to write down is, and hint, that's the cue, to turn on the microphone. So once you have the microphone turned on, then not only is it recording, it's keeping track of what you're writing. So the next thing that's important to do, that is kind of easy to do, is you jump down to a timestamp. So make sure that you write in there that clicking on a timestamp will help you jump to the auditory, the recording part of what we're talking about. And then one last thing that I want to say is that you can save these notes and you can pull them up and add to them and edit them. And so the last thing I want to remind you is important is make sure you turn off the microphone. So make sure that you write down to turn off the microphone too. And so now the student can just, and I realize you won't be able to hear it here, but you can see probably that there's little white spots here that's kind of like bookmarks. And so when I tap here, it's going to jump right to this section. When I tap here, see how it jumped right here and right there. So it's a lot faster for students to review their notes. They can go right to spots. And earlier someone asked if they could go in and add more stuff after the note was done. So we'll just kind of pretend that I'm out of that note. I can come back and I can start listening from the beginning right here, or I can jump. And if I want to, I can add more information now. So turn on the mic and make sure that you quiet so people can hear. So you can see that you can add more stuff. You can't really add more timestamps, but you can kind of organize your notes a little bit more. So that is MicNote kind of in a nutshell. I know it's a fast little demo on how to do that, but if you need help in doing it, we would love to come out and try it with your student and we can work through this. So let's go back to the newsletter. So when we have this other bonus tool, this technically it wouldn't fit in the newsletter. It ended up being more than a page and I just didn't want to mess with that, so I kind of put it on the side. So with Note Bytes, it's a way that you take written notes and it automatically changes those notes into a podcast. So remember how, so here's the tool. And remember how I was able to go up and grab the text by doing this. So that's all I did for here. You can see this is my notes from the slide. And it turned it into a podcast. And here it is. So now if I push play, and I just wanted to show you again though how fast it is, or easy it is. So I could, so say I'm gonna oops, sorry, Note Bytes demo. So there's a tag, and then Note Bytes is awesome. I hope students really like it and can review notes this way. And has basic spelling kind of stuff. So if I go down to create note, here's that demo, and then I just have to refresh my page and then go into podcasts, and here is the note. So the audio is actually, it's not a human voice, it's a synthetic voice, but it's a pretty nice sounding voice. Okay, so that's it for the newsletter.